Hi, everybody. This is John Cash Philippi with Gaming and Leisure Voice. I am here with Kara Heermans. She is the Senior Vice President of Product Management and UEX at Sonifi. But she'll tell you more about that. I'm in transition, so bear with my background. I'm doing the best I can. I don't have a room built yet. I'm going to have Scott Campbell come over and do that eventually. But before we get started. As always, we have some wonderful sponsors for GNL Voice, so let's take a moment and let them tell us a little bit about themselves. Agilis helps the gaming industry realize its full potential through exceptional technology that goes beyond what other tech providers have trained hospitality to expect. We build our state-of-the-art hospitality-focused software for continuous innovation, industry-leading data sharing, maximum flexibility for best-of-breed performance, and smooth ecosystem integration, and an always-learning guest profile engine so you can create personal experiences. It's time for hospitality to go beyond with technology from Agilicis. And we're back. Kara, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and Sonify and that artichoke behind you? I love your background, but that artichoke's awesome.
Well, hi there. Thank you so much for having me on. I've been looking forward to our conversation. And yes, so maybe we'll start just with the artichoke above my shoulder here. When we had talked previously, I'd shared with you that I had been decorating my office, and I was really excited to try out some live plants. So I had this really beautiful cactus in that space, but unfortunately, due to my lack of a green thumb, it didn't make it. But I replaced it with a really beautiful ceramic artichoke, and it is just thriving. So it's doing great.
You have my green thumb, or I should say brown thumb, or to guess, because that's the way all my plants turn.
Exactly. I'm recognizing my limitation, and that's okay.
Okay. Well, tell us a little bit about Sonify and yourself.
Yeah, for sure. So, I have a background in user experience design. I've always really enjoyed making beautiful and usable things for end users. So, I started doing websites in college, and that turned into a design at a web design firm, a startup design firm, and sort of took a few different turns in my career, but ended up with an opportunity to design user experiences for the television in the hotel room. And so that just sounded really interesting and not something I had done before. So I took that opportunity, and that's what I've been doing with Sonify for the last 20 years. So now I not only have the user experience team, but I also have product and content, and I really enjoyed being here.
That's fantastic. The Sonify, we all know, is a wonderful, uh, provider of hotel services, Wi-Fi services, and many other types of services. But let's talk about the evolution of the television in the hotel room. I mean, some people have asked me, and in our previous conversation, and they've even asked you, is it still relevant? I mean, is the TV relevant in the room? How's it changed?
Yeah, it's just a really great question. So Sonify has been a leading content provider for, many decades, and we do content and technology and service, and we serve hospitality at a little over 5,400 properties and over 1 million rooms. And over our time, we've invested heavily in R&D. We want to make sure we're delivering the best guest experiences. We also have a large support network. And we serve just the whole gamut. So from major hospitality franchisors to independents to large casinos to small boutiques. And we've been a leader in the gaming space for the last couple of decades. So really excited to talk with you about that space today. And your question about just the relevance of the television is such a great one because, you think about we're all traveling with phones. Many of us have tablets. You've got kind of this changing demographic and habits as younger generations come on. And so if you just like kind of take a step back and you think about our day to day, like outside of the hotel space, just as a consumer in our home, channels and apps and content, it really matters. I mean, we're all looking for ways to relax, to learn, to connect, to be entertained. But the television is more than just entertainment. It's this way to drive activation and promotion and advertising. I mean, you think about the consumer space, there's still $60 billion spent on television advertising today, and that's not counting video or interactive TV ads. So that's sort of the foundation. You think about that, and then you start to turn your lens to the hospitality space. TV is still the number one device that people use to consume media in hotel rooms. Across our base, we see about 73% of guests using the television for about 3 hours per day. And it's also, because of that, really the most viable marketing and communication platform in the room.
Well, I
It's
won't talk about how much time I spend in front of the TV. I really won't.
Is it more than you'd like to admit?
It always is, isn't it?
That's okay. It's a time to relax and let go. But it's just such a great digital sign, and you have a captive audience. So even as these content offerings and behaviors change, the television leveraging what it's good for, entertainment, promotion, it's as relevant as ever.
Well, that's great. I guess that leads into the evolution of entertainment. Can you talk about how the evolution of entertainment has affected the hotel room offerings? I mean, at one time I built some really smart hotel rooms that ended up being really dumb in my past. So, can you talk to that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's changed so much. So, really thinking about like three different trends on how things have changed, and then how that applies to like providers like us and our hotel partners. So, the first is really just around distribution. Like it started out, we used to send physical VHS tapes to hotels and put them into VCRs, and that's how movies were delivered. But then that became satellite delivery, and now it's cloud or IP delivery. So it's so much more efficient and faster. The second thing is just content. You think about just the sheer volume of content that's now available to us. You have, all of these great streamers that are providing so many more options. They're investing in development of original content. I mean, with all that's out there, you can spend more time like looking for what you want to watch instead of actually watching the show.
Oh, I've seen a lot of cat videos. I can tell you that.
Maybe you do spend too much time. No, it's
That's on my phone.
fair enough. So, when you think about all that content, having a personalized experience that's curated is so important. And then the third trend that we really keep an eye on is just demographics and guest behavior and how much that's changing. So you have like the older generation that really cares about linear TV, maybe a younger demographic that's more app driven, but then you've got live TV that kind of brings everybody together. Everybody's looking for that latest sporting event. So when you think about those trends, and it's kind of like, okay, what does that mean for what we do and for the experience like casinos are trying to create? So one of the biggest things is that we really need to think about distribution. You have, all of these amazing content offerings, and you want to make them available, but sometimes the reality of like the infrastructure of the hotel can be challenging. So we really try to optimize working with casinos, like how do you deliver all those great content options, regardless of infrastructure, if it's coax or IP, wireless, fiber, etc. The second thing is really about, making sure that we're offering all these different types of content so that you're meeting the needs of all of your different types of guests. You want to make sure that those that want linear television or casting or apps, they all, can access what they want to. And we're able to do that seamlessly. And we encourage casinos to take advantage of making sure they're offering those options. And then personalization. So, you want to make sure that guests can log into their apps so they can get that personalized experience. But you also want to make sure that they're logged out so it's secure and safe. And then we try to do things like curate content, whether it's hotel content or entertainment content, to feature the most interesting, and then maybe adjust the experience based on the guest behavior. So we can do things like elevate the last channel that a guest watched or the last VOD title they watched, just to make it easier to engage.
That's always a great thing because I hate, when you go to your sports channel and then, you got to search the 400 pages down to my sports channel again because you offer so many channels in a hotel that I don't have at home. And it's like, ooh, yeah. Uh, but on that note, I mean, I've been in the business a long time, and everybody knows that, and there's a lot of other people like me who've been in the business a long time, and we remember the days when we would call up Sonifi even and say, "Hey, we want a system, and we don't want to pay anything for it. We're gonna split the media cost because there's going to be so much video content purchased that it makes it worth your while." And nowadays that's kind of died. And I mean, how do you build an ROI in this new landscape? Since now you can't just take media fees and things like that.
Yeah, it's true, right? I mean, you think about before the days of like Netflix and YouTube and all of these great app providers, the only way that you could consume new content was in a movie theater or in a hotel room. Otherwise, you would have to buy a VHS tape, a DVD, something like that. So that meant that sales of VOD were just like astronomical in hotel rooms. And the rev share ultimately that went to the hotel paid for that ITV system. But like you're saying, I mean, things have just changed so much. The VOD sales aren't what they were. I mean, we have so many more content offerings. But in parallel, hotels wanted to start using the television for more than channels and apps and movies. So, we talked a little bit earlier about TV being a promotion and activation device. So similarly, in hotel rooms, now we're seeing the ROI come from using the television as that promotion vehicle. So there are a number of things that we're seeing casinos do, like promoting on-site amenities and like food and beverage options just to drive that on-property spend. We're also seeing incremental revenue by promoting and transacting on things like late checkout, just custom digital experiences for like group. So imagine you're there for like a wedding or a conference, your experience and the graphics and the content that are available to you are different because you're an attendee of that group. Also looking at third-party advertising that can generate revenue, but doing so in like non-obtrusive ways. So it's not interruptive or distracting from your experience. And then we see a lot of, casinos and hotels use the TV to promote loyalty sign up, credit card, direct bookings, things like that. So what's been really great to see about this evolution is that now hotels are using the television to generate ROI in ways that better align with their core goals rather than, what VOD was.
With over 50 years of global experience, BPOS delivers comprehensive point-of-sale solutions tailored for casinos, powered by a robust enterprise platform with all the integrations you need, from player rewards, PMS, and camera systems to business intelligence and more. BPOS seamlessly connects your operations. Our solutions cover point-of-sale systems, online ordering, self-serve kiosk, mobile ordering, pay-at-table options, QR code ordering, KDS, inventory management, enterprise reporting, and beyond. Backed by exceptional US-based customer service and support, we ensure your casino's operations run smoothly and efficiently. You make a great point, and my biggest challenge is, and this is other people, not me, who watch way too much television and and one too many cat videos. Okay, you know, you know how? I mean, as a operator, how does Sonify or any television? I shouldn't just say Sonify, but has any television system nowadays try to get people out of the room? I mean, I want them on my floor. I want that extra few bucks per wallet coming out and going into either a slot machine or an EGD or a meal spa, all that. I can get hooked on I see a show sometimes. I'm in the hotel room, I turn on a show, and it's like, oh, I haven't seen that in a while, and I'm stuck for an hour when I really didn't even. I can do that at home. Why, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So whether it's, your question or asking for a friend, but
It's for a
that
friend. It really is.
But no, it just makes a ton of sense, right? So I totally understand. You want people out on the floor, you want people taking advantage of your amenities, you want them spending money. But the reality is that we're human, and there is a moment in time where you just need to relax, to sleep, to recharge. And that's really what the hotel room and that television can provide. But you can also use that TV screen in a really smart way. So you can use it to promote and just to inform and to sort of drive the guests where you want them to go. But when they're ready, once they've had that moment of rest and they're ready to go again. So if you think about it, that television that's in the hotel room is really the most economical and effective means to communicate with guests. It's in the room, you have a captive audience, they're already guests, they're the most ready to spend at your property. And so, you can really use that TV in some smart ways. A couple of examples that we've seen, this idea of like supply-based marketing. So if you have a restaurant on site that doesn't have a lot of tables booked for the evening, you can send some promotions through the television, like through a messaging platform with images and beautiful food pictures, encourage them to book a table for the night. And that's certainly helping you by driving bookings, but it's also helping that guest make a decision about where to go for dinner that night. You can also do things like drive traffic to low traffic areas. Maybe there are some areas of the casino floor where there's not a lot going on, so you can encourage guests to go there. Things like promotions based on time of day, live videos of what's going on in public spaces so that guests, have this like fear of missing out. They don't want to miss anything. They're, excited to go partake. So these are just some great examples of using the television in a smart way to get them out of that room.
That's funny you say that because I just recently heard the term FOMO, fear of missing out, and I was like, "What's that?" I finally, oh, that is a thing. I get it. Okay, so now they've made an acronym out of that. They've made an acronym out of everything. But you make such great points on personalization and how you can direct messaging to get people moved to different places, and that's fantastic. Um, where do you see, I guess, for my, I guess, last question, where do you see the evolution of the hotel room taking us?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's some exciting things ahead. There are two areas that I would really think about. So the first is just around greater personalization. I mean, we talked a lot about personalization, especially around entertainment content, but I think that there's just so much more that can be done on the like hotel content side, hotel promotion. Hotels are experts on their guests. They know so much about them, their preferences, what type of guest they are, if they're a foodie or a sports buff or whatnot. But I think as an industry, there's so much more that we could do to use that information to inform, customize, personalize the digital experience in the hotel room. And then the second, like just sort of thing I think I see is around mobile. When you think about airline travel, your mobile device is with you every part of the way, and it's very seamless. And while we have pockets of that in hospitality, you think about texting with a concierge, or you think about some of the brand apps that have advanced. Um, it's maybe just not as ubiquitous as it is with air travel. And I think that there's a great opportunity to have that mobile device be a part of your experience, a part of your whole stay journey. And then also thinking about how that can interact with the television in new and exciting ways. To me, those are sort of our best opportunities of where technology is going.
That you never see the television going away. I think you're kind of pointing that the television is going to be the centerpiece for a very long time in the future.
I think so. I think the TV is going to matter for a very long time, and how we use it is going to evolve.
That's fantastic. Well, Kara, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been so great talking to you. Any final thoughts? Anything you'd like to say?
Well, just a couple things. The we just said it, but the TV matters and use it to deliver a great entertainment experience for your guests, but also make sure you're thinking about it as part of your digital strategy because it's a great way to engage your guests and drive revenue. And then lastly, I just thank you so much for the conversation. It's really been my pleasure to be here.
Thank you, and it's wonderful to have you here as well. Uh, Everyone, it's John Cash Philippi with Kara Heermans from Sonifi. I will see you next time.